Are you ready for the best in Sooner football recruiting news? Then it's time to get locked in with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Whether you're a recruiting doomer or sunshine pumper, text the guys on the First Liberty Bank text line at 405-651-3439. And call your shot on the Riverwind Casino jackpot line at 405-329-9000.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
Connor Pasby, I know you don't have editorial power to do this, but can we start a petition for Mike Steely to never play that horrendous rendition of the national anthem ever again? Jeez, that was awful.
That was bad, man. I came across my timeline yesterday, decided to play it, and just brutal from Martha Reeves. Not very good.
See, and like you, I was too young. I had never heard that one before. I'm a little too young for that, but I'm listening to it in my office, or I guess in our office, and I was like, oh gosh. Like I remember. Some people might disagree with me, but I am old enough to remember the Fergie one. I know I'm a pup here, but I do remember that one. I thought the Fergie one was the worst thing that ever existed. That was pretty bad.
And the Women's Professional Baseball League?
Yeah, that too. What is that?
What's going on here? There's a thing that we have now that is professional softball. But
I love women's professional sports. I think the AUSL has more staying power than I think some people think it does. I like the AUSL. I don't watch it every night. I don't watch it multiple nights a week. But if it's on and I've got some work to do, I'll watch the AUSL, and I generally enjoy it. I do enjoy it. But we don't need a women's professional baseball league. Also, what's the entertainment value in that?
I don't understand. I don't get it. And the players that you are using for this league, like how does that work? Because obviously the best ones coming out of college, they're going to go play.
To
softball.
The AUSL.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of rotating factors here that makes this a little bit strange. Anyway, back from vacation. This is Locked In. I'm Grayson Singleton. Glad you guys are rocking with us on this Monday afternoon. Welcome to the month of August. Welcome back to football. We got fall camp starting in a couple of days. We'll talk about that here in a couple of minutes. The NFL Hall of Fame game, which is the worst rendition of professional football you'll ever see, is on Thursday night. I will still be watching it, of course, because I have nothing better to do on a Thursday night, and that's a real thing. Grayson Singleton, Connor Pasby here with you on Locked In, brought to you by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Family-friendly service, low-pressure sales environment. They can help you through all parts of the buying process, and you guys also know that they got half-price oil changes on Saturday. So make the drive out there to our friends at in El Reno. Tap in with Dorsey Jones GMC. Hey, coming up on the show today, it is Alabama Day on our Team Takeover, brought to you by Norman Hyundai. So we'll talk about the weird vibe around Alabama. I've got an interesting thought on that. I do want to weigh in on the Baker Mayfield thing, because what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just tried to pull off is kind of wild. And real quickly, I do want to get to some fall camp stuff. But we got to start with this NCAA mess, right? Right, Connor? I mean, the A-block story of the day, and I don't want to spend too much time on this because you and Steely tackled this at the beginning of the 12 o'clock hour. Dari and Josh sporadically went through it in the 3 hours that they were on the air, and everybody seems to come to the same conclusion that this thing gave us more questions than it did answers, which has basically been the NCAA in the last half-decade. Connor, I've heard your thoughts on it, but I want you to – Kim, is there any way to make sense of this? Is there any way to make sense of, yeah, if you're part of the 2022 class, yeah, you can come back, and then all of a sudden we just yank the rug up from underneath some people? Like, I feel like this was gone about all the wrong way.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions about it, and the main thing for me is, I told Steely, but the timing of this, like, happening – right in August. I mean, we're a month away from college football. You got so many teams, Grayson, that already have their roster ready to go. And OU's got one roster spot left to fill.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many teams are going to use this or how it's going to work. We saw an article about if players signed a contract and they're not able to come back and use their final year of eligibility. A lot of questions about it.
405-651-3439 is the First Liberty Bank text line, by the way. Also on YouTube at KREF Sports. On YouTube is where you can find all of us. But this should have been done on June 24th.
Yeah.
Anybody remember what happened on June 24th? That was the Wednesday the Division I cabinet officially concluded its meeting, and it was officially adopted the 5-to-play-5 rule. That's when this should have been done.
It would make the most sense to just combine those two. If you're going to make a decision on this, why the heck are you waiting till August, freaking game month, to decide this?
Homie, it's been 40 days. And the reason I loved the 5-to-play-5 rule was that it was a very common sense solution. It was probably the first common sense solution to the changing landscape of college sports. I actually appreciated that. It was just straight up, hey, this makes sense. It may not satisfy everybody. It may not be perfect, but it's as close as we're going to get. So I actually liked it. It would have just made more common sense to say, wait a minute, the class of 2022 has played 4 years. Why don't we just graft them into this new rule, have them play a 5th year, and be done with it? That's the weirdness about it. Now, are there some changes to different things that I would make? Obviously, like I would allow, say in the case of Dominic Williams, and there is a pivot off of this. Say in the case of Dominic Williams, say Dominic Williams doesn't make the Arizona Cardinals roster, and he desires to come back. I would let a guy who signed an undrafted free agent contract, I would let them come back. Now, if you were drafted, say you're Robert Spears-Jennings, for instance, and you got drafted in, the 6th, 7th round by the Steelers, even though I think RSJ is going to make the team.
Yeah.
But, okay, if you got drafted and signed a contract, okay, I could see how we don't want you to come back and play. I get that. But if you signed a UDFA contract, Marvin Jones Jr., Dominic Williams, to say they don't make the team, I would welcome those guys back. You think?
Yeah, well, when I first saw, that's the first thing that came to my mind when I saw this over the weekend. I'm thinking, okay, this is for guys that went undrafted. It gives them an opportunity to come back. But now they say that you can't do that because they signed a undrafted contract.
Yeah,
there's so many questions, Grace.
Just wild. Yeah. And the pivot off of that is this. I bring up Dominic Williams because it seems as if I've gone through message boards, I've gone through the text line all today, and it seems like the majority of the Sooner fan base, and I would be in agreement with this, if there was one player they wanted back, it would probably be Dominic Williams. And I agree. I think you have the biggest need for him. You're unproven at defensive tackle behind David Stone and Jaden Jackson. Dominic Williams, a veteran guy, wouldn't shake up the locker room, very well-liked guy, could play a role very, very well. That would be the guy that people wanted back. So even though Dominic Williams would not be allowed back, let me ask this. Is defensive tackle the biggest fall camp storyline this year? Because I think it is. I mean, running back's going to settle itself out. Tight end, they'll figure out how to use everybody. The offensive line, their development might be maybe second. But a defensive tackle, for the first time in a couple of years, behind the top two, we don't really know what's going on. So I think thinking about Dominic Williams and seeing how people would eagerly welcome him back, defensive tackle Connor Pasby, I think is the biggest storyline to watch, especially that depth behind behind the starting two going into the year.
Yeah, I mean, because when you look behind Jackson and Stone, I mean, some guys that come to mind, depth pieces that could find some time on the field is Trent Wilson and Nigel Smith, two guys that you think about up there on the defensive line. So it does bring a lot of experience back if whatever happens, that Dominic Williams can come back and play. But you also have guys, Nigel Smith's been kind of waiting for his turn, and this feels like a year where he can play a lot of football for you.
The Spy in LA on the First Liberty Bank text line says, as OU has one roster spot left, what position do we need? And I think if there is a need, it's defensive tackle, especially for proven. Here's something interesting. When it comes to Oklahoma's defense, the holdup for me in terms of, okay, let's set the groundwork here. We all know they're going to be really, really good. Okay, nobody's disputing that. But if there was one area where you were concerned, where I was concerned, it would be depth at defensive tackle. Think we're on the same page, Connor, with that one?
Yeah, because what I think about is just in case, like, don't want it to happen, but if someone goes down, that's a spot on the field in the trenches that you want to have a lot of depth pieces at.
The two guys behind David Stone and Jaden Jackson, who we presume are going to be the next guys in that rotation, are Trent Wilson and Nigel Smith, like you just brought up. For their career, they have combined for 2 tackles. At this particular time last season, the 4 rotating defensive tackles had combined for 101. This year, that number is 72. 70 of them are from David Stone and Jaden Jackson. That's where the holdup is. Like, I think if there's one hole, and we know Brent Venables, they're not just going to play 11. They're going to play 20. They're going to play 25. They're going to play a lot of dudes on defense. Right? So when you have that kind of concern, that to me has always been the holdup for me. Not that the unit's going to be anything short of elite, not that the unit is going to take a precipitous fall, but that's the one thing I'm paying attention to is what does that defensive line rotation shake out to be given that you don't have the proven production that you had in the previous years?
Yeah, because the starters look really good on paper. It's just, what's behind the starters, like we talk about with this is going to be something new for Nigel Smith and Trent Wilson, who don't have a lot of experience. And this could be something where, hey, they're thrown in and will play a lot more football than they have in the past.
First Liberty Bank text line. Yes, by the way, those of you that have said there's a high-pitched noise, yes, I hear it in my headphones too.
That's what I've been
trying
to figure out on the board.
Drake!
Get Drake in here.
We'll try to figure that out.
Drake
I think Hattie's telling me it might be the lights that are on the YouTube that are illuminating me, so you guys on YouTube can actually see me. Titan Todd, First Liberty Bank text line. Defensive end is still a little shaky as far as production. Very true. Here's why I don't think it's defensive end, though. Here's why I have a less concern about defensive end than I do DT. Because I've seen the dudes. Right, Danny Okoye has 2 sacks. He had 2 sacks last year. I've seen PJ play the run very well. I've seen him flash that athleticism. Like, we've seen it with some of these guys. Obviously, Taylor Wine on the opposite side of whoever is going to win that job, PJ, Danny. We've seen a little bit, even though it's not a large sample size, we've seen some sort of a proof of concept with Danny Okoye, with PJ Adebawore. When it comes to Nigel Smith and Trent Wilson, we haven't seen a whole hell of a lot. Tattoo Baker's trolling me on the text line saying, you've never seen Nigel Smith? You know what's funny? I actually played basketball against Nigel Smith in high school. So I have seen Nigel Smith. He's always been a big dude. Adam from the ATX says, I think Nigel is going to be a star. I think he is too. I think he has the ability to be that type of player. But there is far less proof of concept with the rotational DTs who are coming up in the world than there are those rotational defensive ends that are now going to play a huge role, Connor.
Well, and you bring up a good point. We haven't really seen much of Nigel Smith, but when you go to defensive ends, we know how explosive and how quick of a first step Danny Okoye is.
Mm-hmm.
And, dude, I am ready to sit back and watch Danny Okoye. If he ends up being that starter on the opposite side of Taylor Wine, he's going to do some outstanding things.
Yeah, no, and to be quite honest with you, too, I'm far less concerned about that other side of the line of scrimmage as it pertains to opposite Taylor Wine. I'm far less concerned about that. And maybe it's just because I'm not there to take the route of some people on the text line, and it's a good point that if you trust Todd Bates, you're like, okay, we think Todd Bates is a bang-up coach. He's going to get these boys ready. Sure, absolutely. there just hasn't been the proof of concept yet. Now, there is another piece to this puzzle. What does Kenny Ozawalu do? Now, is Kenny Ozawalu going to play defensive end or defensive tackle? We've kind of waffled between that over the course of the offseason. What is Kenny Ozawalu going to do? What is Bishop Thomas, another transfer? What does he look like? How does he factor into all of this? But a guy that, like Bishop Thomas, big step up in competition, big step up in terms of the stage of college football that he's playing on. So, another unknown. There's a lot of unknowns here. That's why, to me, it's the most fascinating camp storyline for me.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of guys stepping up in the interior defensive line outside of Jaden Jackson and David Stone. We'll see some new faces up front for sure.
Powder Puff says don't sleep on Tank Carrington because he's similar to what Jaden Jackson was when Jaden Jackson got to campus, technique and stuff. Not sleeping on him? It's kind of hard to project true freshmen on the interior of defensive lines in the SEC, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You usually see a defensive line, a lot of guys with some experience on that
Just
interior defensive line.
Just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You hit it out of the park with Jaden Jackson, though. David Stone looked like a promising player his freshman year. Like, don't get me wrong, it's possible. I usually don't go that far into being like, freshman, there he goes. Not at that position. Not at that position. But you know what? Powder Puff, if you get ahead of it and call it, we'll acknowledge it later on in the season. If he turns out to be making plays his freshman year, we'll give you your props. We'll give you your props for that, for sure. Ryan in Jacksonville, would a guy that used to be a 1 at OU want to come back and not start? How does being a depth piece at OU move the needle when they were a UDFA as a starter in college? How does that work in the locker room for guys who waited their turn? Amen. There was an On3 article Pete Nakos did a couple of days ago when that whole ruling from Charlotte Sweeney came down. And I'm trying to find the quote directly, but it said something along the lines of a general manager telling Pete Nakos now that he now has to go raise more money to screw over people who have been working their butts off all spring and summer long. It's a wild, wild situation that you find yourself in. If you know that, hey, we can bring somebody back that's going to help us win more games than what we already have.
That's the tough part of this. You got someone that is ready to go, waiting their turn, and it immediately gets taken away because you do bring someone back. And like Ryan Jacksonville says, the locker room side of things too. Sometimes you can be taking a risk when you bring someone in, back into the locker room when you have your team ready to go for the season.
Yeah, they're ready to go. Camp starts, at least for Oklahoma, camp starts in 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's wild, man. But again, this goes back to the beginning of the segment. This thing should have been taken care of June 24th. By the way, 3-star Colin Claremore, no. Let's clarify this. Did you just say there's no proof of concept with Todd Bates? What are you smoking? No, I did not say that. I said there's no proof of concept of some of the rotational defensive tackles that are now going to be playing more meaningful roles this year. There is a clearly a proof of concept as it pertains to Todd Bates. Yeah. It's the Nigel Smiths, the Trent Wilsons of the world. By the way, Marcus Strong would have fit nicely in this situation. Obviously, left for a bigger role at Clemson. Wish him all the best. But, boy, could they have used Marcus Strong this year.
He would be a depth piece. That's for sure.
I think he would have been the first guy off the bench at defensive tackle as well. 405-651-3439. More of your texts on the way here on Locked In. Grayson Singleton back from vacation. Connor Pasby here with you. Parker Thune will be back on Wednesday. Coming up next, though, it is Alabama Day on our SEC team takeovers presented by Norman Hyundai. And I have no idea what to make about Alabama for the first time in my very short quarter of a century life. It's Connor, it's Grayson, Locked In, back after this on the Ref.
Locked In is brought to you every day by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Dorsey Jones GMC is family-owned and operated with a knowledgeable, low-pressure sales staff here to help you through the buying process and half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Visit dorsey-jonesgmc.com for more information.
Good times are calling your name at the Showplace Theater with acts like Alison Krauss and Union Station, September 25th. Don't miss Foreigner, October 2nd. Brett Young, October 16th.
On the right side of free.
And Bare Naked Ladies, October 23rd.
You look at me through your eyes.
Riverwind is OKC's favorite casino experience.
A message from Oklahoma Human Services. If you receive SNAP benefits, this message is for you. Life changes fast. If you've started a new job, moved, or had changes in your household, you are required to update your information as soon as possible. Keeping your case current helps avoid delays and keeps your benefits accurate. Update your SNAP case today at okdhslive.org. Don't wait. Stay up to date at okdhslive.org.
It's football time in Oklahoma, and Cayman's on Main Street in Norman is your one-stop shop for men's and women's clothing and accessories for OU. Guys, Peter Millar OU SEC polos and quarter zips are found only at Cayman's. They've been doing business for over 45 years and feature Johnny O, Rag and Bone, John Hardy, and much more. Football is here, and your OU SEC merch is at Cayman's in Carriage Plaza on Main Street in Norman. Call 405-360-3969 and let Cayman's help you with your OU game days.
I'm Tony Goldwyn. As an actor and a director, I attend a lot of screenings. But there's one that's different. It's important, and it could save your life. A lung cancer screening. You know, I lost my mom to lung cancer when she was just 68 years old. Screenings help diagnose lung cancer early when it's most treatable, even curable. A quick, low-dose CT scan is all it takes. Go-To for lung cancer is your go-to. Visit goto.org.
Why did I wait so long to see a retina specialist?
Retinal disease can steal your eyesight, but it doesn't have to. Patients who seek care from a retina specialist have the best chance of preventing vision loss due to age-related macular degeneration or diabetic retinopathy. AMD symptoms to look out for are distortion or warping of straight lines, as well as blurred or loss of central vision. Patients with diabetic retinopathy should seek treatment if they notice the appearance of spots or floaters or blurred and distorted vision. Visit seeforalifetime.org.
At National Geographic Society, we believe in the power of wonder. It drives us to explore, pushes us to see the world differently, moves us to action. And we believe that today, wonder is more essential than ever. Wow. That's why we're supporting a new generation of explorers to ask big questions, make breakthroughs, and bring the future closer. Wonder awaits. Will you join us? Visit natgeo.org/wonder.
You ever stop and think, what happens if my air conditioner quits today when it's 100 degrees outside? That's not a problem you want to figure out at the last minute. Hey, it's Chris Plank. That's why I trust Norman Air. Whether it's a quick repair, routine maintenance, or a complete new system, they've got the experience to get your home comfortable again fast. I use them in my house, and you should too. They can also help with plumbing and electrical. Don't sweat this summer. Call the team that's been keeping Oklahoma families cool for years. Norman Air. Service to the max.
This is Peggy Doviak of DM Wealth Management. Your financial life is very similar to the offense in a game of football. First, to create the game plan, you need to know how much you spend. Then, you need to put together a portfolio that helps you meet your goals and matches your risk tolerance level. And finally, you need to save for your retirement through your company's plan or an IRA. Let us help you plan your prosperity. Check us out at dmwealth.com.
All right, welcome back. It's Locked In on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans, on your traditional terrestrial radio options, as well as YouTube as well. KREF app presented by Warren Cat. Show today brought to you by Dorsey Jones, GMC in El Reno. A couple of people asking me how my vacation was and if I did end up going to Broken Bow. I did not end up going to Broken Bow. So the reason I took off those last few days was because my girlfriend's best friend's birthday was late last week, and we were going to go to Broken Bow for that, but we ended up just kind of doing a staycation, which is probably the first and last time y'all will hear me say that word on these airwaves.
You pulled a Mike Steely.
Yeah, Well, I mean, that's what Emily called it. She's like, hey, we'll do a staycation here in the city. She just moved up to the city, so we ended up hanging around the city. By the way, if any of you guys need a place in the city to go kick it for like a Friday or Saturday night, have you ever been to the Dueling Piano Bar out there in Bricktown?
I've been to a few piano bars, but yeah, not one in Oklahoma City.
The Dueling Piano Bar, I think it's like Michael Something's Dueling Piano Bar in Bricktown, is awesome.
Piano bars are cool, man. It's a good
love
time.
it.
It's a fun, good time.
I love it. We went out there, what was that, Saturday? It was Saturday night, yeah. It was Saturday night we went out there. It was the second time we had gone out there. I love it, man. I love the pianos. They obviously could play guitar, sing a bunch of songs, stuff like that. It's great. Great time.
They make it a great atmosphere. They make it a great atmosphere at Piano Bar.
So where have you been to a piano bar to?
In Nashville. I can't remember the name, but when me and my wife took an anniversary trip to Nashville, yeah, we tried out one of the piano bars. Had a great time.
Okay.
It's fun,
okay,
man.
yeah, no, and I'd love to see one in Nashville, by the way.
Yeah, it's a good time.
That seems like an excellent place to go see anything music related. But I mean, a piano bar out there, that sounds like a lot of fun. Grayson Singleton, Connor Pasby, here with you on the ref. Some of your texts. Chris from Knoxville says, I will stand by this. When one thing gets fixed in college sports, 10 new problems will pop up. It's kind of like a Hydra head. Anybody know what a Hydra is? Connor, do you know what a Hydra is? From Greek mythology?
I think so. No.
Cut off
you
one.
Have to explain it.
It's like a multi-headed dragon. You cut off one head and then two more pop up. That's kind of.
That's a good way to put it with the NCAA.
Yeah, it really is. Chris also says, as quickly as starters for the Panthers are dropping, some of those second and third string players in the Hall of Fame game might be week one guys.
That's a good point.
I mean, Chris Brazzell already went down with a season-ending injury.
Yeah.
By the way, nobody's had an offseason worse than the 49ers. I mean, their coach got in a wreck that the cops may or may not have done their job, and he had to tell everybody, yeah, no, that was me texting while driving, and, Ricky Pearsall's now out for the year. By the way, speaking of Kyle Shanahan, are you aware of who their interim head coach is?
Who is over there, though?
Google the name Chris Forrester.
Okay.
Google the name Chris Forrester. He is their interim head coach right now. And tell me what you find on Chris Forrester, since clearly you don't know the Chris Forrester story. By the way, those of you on the text line, some of you that know the Chris Forrester story, let me know. While Connor's doing that, though, our SEC team takeovers are brought to you by Norman Hyundai, servicing you and nothing else. Start your car buying journey anytime at normanhyundai.com. Stop by their beautiful new facility on the Mile of Cars in Norman. That, again, is Norman Hyundai. Connor, have you found the backstory on Chris Forrester?
The headline I see is resigned from his position at the as the Dolphins offensive line coach in October 2017.
Yep, that's the one.
After a video surfaced online. So do I need to go find the video?
Well, don't find the video. Just find what the video was about. Yes, that video did surface.
Oh no.
We're not playing the video over the air. Okay,
it's that bad then.
Bad. He was in the team office and he was
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
I read it. Wow.
Uh-huh. For those of you that don't know the Chris Forrester story, look it up. That's who is the 49ers interim head coach right now. Alabama, though. They're the subject of our SEC team takeover. Today brought to you by Norman Hyundai. What do we make of Alabama? And Dari has called them the biggest mystery in the SEC this year. I asked the question, and we brought this up on this show a couple of weeks ago, but I'll ask it again. Is Alabama still cool? That's kind of where I land on Alabama, Connor, is that I don't know if Alabama's still cool anymore. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, the big Alabama receiver was Julio Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going from Julio Jones when I first started watching college football to Amari Cooper, and then you fast forward a few years, you had the trifecta of Henry Ruggs and Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle, and they were winning championships and all of that, and they were fabulous. They were the team that you tailored your Saturdays around, and it clearly is not that anymore. I mean, I found myself, and part of it because I have obligations to watching at least 2 college football teams every week, Oklahoma and SMU with my other work. But if Alabama's on TV, it's like, all right, cool, I'll watch them. If there's not a better game, they used to be the better game.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Alabama's cool anymore, Connor.
Well, you named those wide receivers that Alabama had, and for me, I'll go over to running backs. I remember growing up watching Mark Ingram, Trent Richardson, Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
There's some bad dudes, man, running the football for Alabama.
Mm-hmm. They always had about 9 first-round picks on their defense. Now, they've got good players on defense. Zabian Brown is a really good corner, like we found out in Norman. Bray Hubbard's pretty good safety. They got other players, but, I mean, they're just not cool anymore. And their recruiting class, and this is a recruited-oriented show, but, I mean, look at their recruiting classes. 2023, they hit the pinnacle. They were the number 1 recruiting class in 2023. 24, they were second. 25, they were third. That's all cool. 26, they were sixth. Connor, do you know where Alabama is in the recruiting rankings right now, according to Rivals, in the 2027 class?
2027, they wouldn't be outside the top 25, would they? Or
they're 33rd.
33rd, they are outside the top 25.
Alabama is the 33rd recruiting class.
Dude, that is something that you don't ever see when it comes to recruiting for Alabama.
I just chalk it up to, and look, a lot of quarterbacks, I mean, a lot of schools are quarterback dependent, right? Which is why we'll see if Vanderbilt has some staying power in the national headlines post Diego Pavia, right? But it ain't like Alabama was winning these championships with a bunch of cool quarterbacks. I mean, look at the quarterbacks they were winning those championships with. Pre-Jalen Hurts and pre-Tua Tagovailoa, they won a championship with Greg McElroy, who is better as a broadcaster than he was a quarterback. A.J. McCarron, who's better known for how attractive his wife is.
Yeah.
And then some dude named Jake Coker. So it ain't because it ain't like they were winning championships with some celebrity name type quarterbacks. So this isn't quarterback dependent with Alabama. I would say they have a more fascinating quarterback in Keelan Russell right now than they ever did with Jake Coker. They're just not cool anymore. Like, Alabama is just not cool.
It's funny you bring up those quarterbacks. That's what I remember with those Alabama teams is, okay, their quarterbacks play well, but it's what's around the quarterback on offense and what they have on defense. Just a different type of animal, it felt like, on both sides of the ball.
But even around the quarterbacks now, and that's a good point that you brought up. Who's the running back? Is it Daniel Hill, who's a good player, but we don't really know much about him. The only skill position guy we really know a thing about is Ryan Coleman Williams, and let's be real, even though I think he's a really good player, his popularity has been life supported by that one particular play against Georgia a couple of years ago. I just chalk it up to, like, was Nick Saban that important to where as soon as he leaves, now maybe they just hired a dude that's just not cool in general in Kalen DeBoer, and, I mean, he's got to completely flip his personality to use profanity more.
There's a different feeling with Alabama. It's not the big bad anymore, and just for this upcoming year with Alabama, there's going to be a lot of new with the Crimson Tide, it feels like.
On YouTube, by the way. On YouTube. I don't know if you have the YouTube pulled up, Connor. But Bearded Bitcoiner just said, just watch the Chris Forrester video. What a dumbass. Did you see how much blow he wasted? You didn't watch the video,
I didn't watch the video.
Okay, basically,
I just saw what he did.
Okay, yeah. He got fired because he was in the facility at his desk doing a line and live streamed it to, well, you guys go find the rest of the story for who that was.
Why do you think that's a good idea to live stream it? As a coach in the National
You're talking about a dude doing cocaine in the middle of his office. I think any other question for what could be a good idea is completely off the table at that point, Connor.
Oh my gosh, I don't understand. But 5-star Brian in Bixby says, looks like Chris Forrester would get along with Dan Lanning. Hey, yeah, they may.
Dan Lanning
get along just fine.
Dan Lanning is the ultimate example of acts like he's on coke, but clearly is not. right?
After that Penn State game, I really thought he was on coke in that post-game interview.
Yeah, no kidding. Like, he's not. But everything you see publicly leads you to believe that he is.
That's the type of energy he brings every single day, it feels like, with this team.
You know what? We talk about how Brent Venables is the perfect coach for Oklahoma right now. I think Dan Lanning's a perfect coach for Oregon.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why I think that, but, it's just a vibes type of thing. And going back to Alabama as well, with the vibes just being off, and maybe that's a Kalen DeBoer type thing where his vibe doesn't match Alabama's, even though I do think Kalen DeBoer is a very, very good college coach. He's made a national championship. But Dan Lanning just seems like he's the perfect coach for Oregon.
Yeah. If you're winning football games and you're a big motivator and you're always feels like you're bringing the juice to your locker room, yeah, I think you're going to be – I think guys are going to want to play for you.
Let me ask you this, too. Is Alabama, and I know we say, like, maybe we just don't think they're very cool right now, and I don't think they are. They don't have the wide receiver mystique, don't have the running back mystique. They have good players everywhere, but they don't have the litany of first-rounders that they normally have. Is Alabama just right now going through a part of the being a victim of the cyclical nature of college football now? Because I do think college football is going to start resembling the NFL, where there will be a period of time where your team is going to be up and everybody's going to be talking about you and all of that, and things are going to be good. And then there's going to be the other part of that cycle where things are going to be down. Now, obviously, down for Alabama is winning 9 games. But, like, do you think there's a possibility that they just don't seem cool right now, but they're going to get this thing resurrected, and it's just the cyclical nature of the sport that we cover now?
I think this could stay the same for Alabama. I just think that with college football, how it's changed since Nick Saban's been at the helm with Alabama, especially when you bring up the recruiting rankings, how they're outside of the top 25. I mean, we used to talk about Alabama every time there was a 5-star. It felt like Alabama was in their list, and that's just not how it is anymore with the Crimson Tide. I still think they'll be good year in and year out, but it's not going to be the big bad Alabama that we've seen in the past.
No, I don't think it will. I think there's going to be one-off seasons. And quite frankly, the one-off seasons I think is going to be just everybody in college football. Like, I don't think there's an impending dynasty. Not even for Kurt Cignetti. I don't think there's an impending dynasty in college football. I think you're going to have one dominant team this year, and then the next year will be another dominant team, and then the next year will be another dominant team. And our question obviously here is, how long will it be for Oklahoma to be that dominant team that wins a national championship? When is it going to be their turn, right? So I think that's part of the whole recalibration on Alabama. But I ultimately think it boils down to this, dude. They just ain't cool no more. Like, I don't tailor my Saturdays around them. I don't necessarily look forward to every Alabama game, and I don't know. Like, they don't capture the culture anymore.
Well, especially when you go into a season for Alabama where there's a lot of unknown. So we're talking about Alabama team where we don't know who's going to be the best running back, who's going to be the most standout at wide receiver. Do they have any dudes that we know of on the defensive side of the ball? There's just a lot of that with Alabama. And in the past, we're used to going into an offseason knowing a lot about the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, I agree. We're not used to having this many questions about them.
Yeah.
405-651-3439. Mustang Sauce says, spot on, they're not cool anymore. TK Sooner says, piano bars are so much fun. Grayson, you need to go to the piano bar the night before a big SEC game, pay for them to play fight songs, have to keep one-upping them to change the song. That's interesting. I did not know about that.
That's pretty cool. I could see that being a good time.
I could see that being a good time, too. There were people, though, I will say, if I wanted to do that, I don't know if I'd be up for the bidding, because there were people that were requesting and giving them $70 to play a song. And I'm just like, I don't got that kind of dispensable bread.
Well, that's something that when I did it, I didn't do the tipping part. I just had the list of on the paper what songs that I wanted and put it in the jar. But yeah, that is smart though the tipping side of things to get your song played earlier.
Yeah, that's what they were doing. Like
Smart.
they were announcing, somebody just gave us $50, $70. I'm like, All right, you do you, man.
Guess we got to play it now then.
Hey, speaking of cash, coming up next, I found this clip from the Golix show. I want to play that about using cash. Plus, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers trying to lowball Baker Mayfield. What are you doing, bruh? Connor Pasby, I'm Grayson Singleton as the ref.
The Ref Radio Sports Network is powered statewide by the insurance adjusters at Brown O'Haver. Fire, wind, theft, or tornado, we can help. Call 405-735-5510.
Football season is almost here, Oklahoma. Gear up for game day at Balfour of Norman, your home for the newest Sooner gear. We've got the latest in Nike and Jordan on-field styles, fresh 47 brand hats, and new arrivals hitting the shelves every single day leading up to kickoff. Looking for that perfect clear stadium bag? We've got plenty of options for game day, plus gear for the whole family, even the littlest Sooners and four-legged fans. Shop online at crimsonproud.com or visit us on Campus Corner, Balfour of Norman, where you'll find everything Sooner.
Lake Crest Casino and Hotel is the perfect getaway in Ardmore, Oklahoma, where fun, comfort, and entertainment all come standard. Stay in our luxurious 89-room hotel or treat yourself to our resort-style pool with outside bar, enjoy fine dining in our restaurant, or try your luck in our casino. The Oasis Boutique offers something for everyone. Plan your next getaway at Ardmore's newest destination for luxury, excitement, and unforgettable fun at lakecrestcasino.com or call 580-222-2910.
Hey, Ref Army, Darinoka here. Can you feel it? OU football's right around the corner. The lights at Owen Field. The pride of Oklahoma. Boomer Sooner echoing through the stadium. It's almost time. And if you need tickets for OU football, the Red River rivalry in Dallas, Thunder basketball, or the biggest concerts coming to Oklahoma, call my guy Fletch. Mike Fletcher at Totally Tickets. They're locally owned by a proud Sooner, so support local and visit totallytickets.com.
Are you, your family, or company looking for a locally owned and trusted management group? Carlsbad Management Group is an owner, developer, and manager of high-quality apartment communities in Oklahoma. They are a locally owned and operated management company for apartments and self-storage units. They are committed to providing exceptional apartment homes, customer service, and increasing the value of multi-family communities under our management. If you would like a free management quote today, call Carlsbad Management at 405-701-1411 and be part of the Carlsbad family.
Football is almost back, and that means it's just about time for the Ref's Gridiron Giveaway, brought to you by Riverwind Casino. Join us Monday, August 10th from noon to 7 for the Ref's 4th annual Gridiron Giveaway at the Norman Buffalo Wild Wings, just south of Highway 9, for a chance at one of 70 college football teams and one of our many instant prizes. That's Monday, August 10th from noon to 7 from the Norman Buffalo Wild Wings for the Ref's 4th annual Gridiron Giveaway, presented by Riverwind Casino.
Are you living with chronic pain, mental fog, addiction, or sleepless nights? At OK Theta and Wellness, husband and wife team Dina and Chad, a nurse practitioner and neurosurgeon turned wellness coach, have helped people find relief for years. Their unique brain-centered approach uses innovative technologies to nurture your well-being and transform your body and mind. From the EECP machine for cardiovascular health and improved blood flow to the Theta chamber for sleep and emotional balance to the StemWave and Morph device for pain relief, this is a new path forward. Visit oktheta.com today.
For the professional, it's not enough to just possess knowledge. That's why at GMC, we seek to refine it, to wield its power, to redefine its boundaries, while pushing the limits. And we put this knowledge to the test in every GMC Sierra by engineering each one to outperform your expectations. So you know you're getting precision and durability when you need it most. And that's what makes the GMC Sierra the truck worth knowing. We are professional grade. See your Oklahoma GMC dealers.
Somewhere there's a river rushing through the woods while someone rushes through their day. There's a mountain looking up at the sky while someone looks down at their phone. A trail waiting to be walked while someone waits for a latte. This world is full of somewheres waiting for someone just like you. So go see yours at 154 national forests and 20 grasslands. And to learn more, visit nationalforest.org. The National Forest Foundation. See your somewhere.
Rocking with y'all on a Monday. It's Locked In with the Ref. Grayson Singleton, Connor Pasby here with you. The Rush is coming up in about 15 minutes from now with Tyler McComas and myself in for the vacationing Teddy Lehman. So Tyler and I got you for the next 3. That coming up in about 15 minutes from now. So before we get to a clip I found from the Golics earlier today, which, by the way, I'm so glad they're back on ESPN Radio. So reportedly, Baker Mayfield was only offered a 2-year contract by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Just 2? Now, look, I know a lot of people have been pissed off by my Baker Mayfield takes, and I still hold to the opinion that I wouldn't pay Baker Mayfield $55 million. But I'd give him a 4-year contract. 31 years of age, been to the playoffs, 27-24 record for a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that before Tom Brady got there was cycling through quarterbacks like Kim Kardashian was cycling through dudes. I mean, I would give him more than a 2-year contract, because when you say somebody's your franchise quarterback, that doesn't scream 2-year contract. 2-year contract is you're a bridge guy. And I think Baker Mayfield is much better than a bridge guy. He is a franchise quarterback. Is he a $55 million quarterback? To me, hell no. But you can't give him a 3-4-year contract at 31 years of age when quarterbacks can play very, very well into their mid-30s? I don't understand that at all. To me, that's the epitome of disrespectful, and I didn't like that one bit.
Grayson, that's the frustrating part about Tampa Bay is, like
Sure.
you mentioned, for them calling him a franchise guy, and 2 years is not enough, man. And we know Baker's story after the Browns, constantly on the move, constantly working with different offensive coordinators and head coaches. And it feels like this is a spot where he can settle down and, I don't know, possibly finish his career. He's 31 years old. He's still young. Bucs feels like a perfect spot. I don't know how they're not able to work something out.
And I don't know what the money was situation. Now Baker did say in a quote that you and Steely played earlier today that it was all 3. It was years. It was total money. It was guaranteed money. I don't know what the total money and guaranteed money was. That obviously is I think is a different sector of the conversation. But since he arrived in Tampa Bay, second most passing touchdowns in the league. Only Jared Goff has more. 4th most passing yards in the league. Now, there's some downsides, 7th highest interception percentage.
Yeah.
2nd most interceptions since that time. Only Geno Smith has more. But, 3 games over 500, won a playoff game, been to another playoffs, has dealt with a lot of injuries around him. I'd give him a 4-year contract, especially because he's 31 years old.
Yeah. Well, won a playoff game first year with Tampa. I know the frustration last year with Tampa Bay because, they start 6-2 and a big collapse late in the year. But, dude, that defensive side of the ball for Tampa Bay last year, it was horrible, man.
Bad.
So bad. I know Baker, there was hit and miss with him last season, but there's a lot of problems elsewhere with that Tampa Bay team.
Right. And now, in fairness to the defense and in fairness to Todd Bowles, they had a lot of injuries, especially in the secondary. They had a lot of guys in the secondary miss a lot of playing time. But no, they didn't have a full cast of characters. Mike Evans was missing games. Promptly then went to the 49ers.
Yeah.
Chris Godwin missed some games. They had dudes in and out of the lineup. I don't know. 2 years, I can get, if Baker feels lowballed by money, I can understand from an organizational standpoint where you would want to go, because you got to ask yourself, is Baker Mayfield worth taking up 20% of the salary cap, where we do have to go rebuild a defense and continue to get weapons? Tristan Wirfs is an expensive left tackle who also misses time every now and then. I get from a cap standpoint why you would offer him something that Baker would say, no, I feel lowballed by that. That makes organizational sense. It makes no organizational sense why you call somebody a franchise quarterback. He is your franchise quarterback, and then you offer him the stability of a bridge quarterback. That, to me, doesn't make sense, not even just from the player's perspective, but also from a franchise perspective as well. It kind of seems like you're hustling backwards.
To me, he's proven enough to be your franchise quarterback, and there's a good chance now in the 2026 season you're going to get a pissed-off Baker Mayfield because he feels like he's worth a lot more, and he wants to be your franchise quarterback, and that may help out his game, Grayson. We've seen what Baker can do when he's pissed off.
And by the way, chip on his shoulder, Baker Mayfield is a real thing. By the way, if this is going to be his final year in Tampa Bay, I want to see what contract year Baker Mayfield looks like.
Oh, yeah, man.
I mean, because if Baker Mayfield throws for 4,200 yards in the 30s and touchdowns and keeps that interception total down, now you're in a situation where Baker Mayfield could get a contract similar to what Jordan Love got a couple of years ago. Jordan Love's about to take up about 17% of Green Bay's salary cap. And if Baker Mayfield can get himself a contract like that where he's taking up 17% of somebody's cap in a good organization if he leaves Tampa Bay, now Baker Mayfield becomes even more intriguing than he already is, I think.
It's going to be interesting. Baker needs to win and get them in the playoffs. And another thing to point out, too, in the NFC South division, that's getting better, too, around the Bucs. When you talk about the Falcons, and we've seen Carolina, the team that got into the playoffs last year with Love, and the Saints as well, they're getting better. So it's a much better division that Baker and the Bucs are facing in the NFC South.
A texter in the 405 says, Grayson goes on vacation for a week and promptly fires away. Kimmy taking strays. Sorry, man. That's honestly the first thing that came to mind. I did not rehearse that.
I can't say this over the air, but speaking of Kim Kardashian, the whole thing that we had earlier, we didn't bring it up. But Steel, man, what are we doing, Steel, man?
Oh, boy. That one's just going to float away into the ether. Hey, 405-651-3439. I wanted to get to this before the end of the show. So this was on the Golics on ESPN Radio, their debut show back together, Mike Golick Sr. and Mike Golick Jr. I don't carry cash around. Connor, do you carry cash?
Grayson, the only time in this world now is when I have cash is usually from, I don't know, maybe from birthday or something, anniversary.
So you and I both who are around the same age, we don't carry cash around. This happened to the Golick family last weekend.
I don't understand why it's looked frowned upon to use cash. It is a perfectly good form of currency.
I understand it's legal tender.
And listen, I get it. I understand Apple Pay and credit cards and all that, the quick pay. I understand all that. But I could not believe the vitriol from my own family when I pulled a 20 out and gave it to the guy at the drive-thru. Now, first off, I thought, okay, he looked a little peeved. Was it because he doesn't know how to figure out the change that comes to me? Because I've had that happen.
Well, yeah.
I've had that happen.
It's post-pandemic. They haven't had to make change in 6 years.
You know what? Learn a little bit of simple math.
Oh, here we
okay? Are you kidding me? Now, normally it comes up on the register what you owe back. So I can't really say that was the issue. I was amazed at how annoyed, and it really got me thinking, is cash that frowned upon? I always have cash, and I always have told you guys to carry cash, some kind of cash, and you don't listen to me. But I just wonder, is it that frowned upon to use cash? It is of legal tender.
I am one of those people who has disregarded my father's advice to carry cash because I cannot tell you the last time I carried cash.
That's just wild. That's how we're talking about cash nowadays.
I mean, I don't. Like, I have all my cards in my Apple Wallet. I usually pay for everything through my phone or with my phone. I don't know. Like some of the people on the First Liberty Bank text line that are a little bit older than Connor and me, do y'all still carry cash around? Like, are there still people that carry primarily cash around, or is that pretty much over and done with? Because I'll tell you, as somebody who graduated high school during the pandemic, right? Like, I was going to college right on the other side of the pandemic. And, I haven't carried cash around in my entire adult life. Like, I just haven't.
Two-Star Jay in Tulsa. Guys, I'm a hell of a lot older than both of you, and I've had the same $6 in my wallet for about 3 years. It's debit and credit cards only for me.
Yeah.
Hey, how about this? Darren and Norman. I'm 55 and I always have cash.
Okay, so some people still carry around cash.
Gunny has at least 200 on him. Who may know what that's for.
Yeah, I was about to say, I have a feeling I know where that's going to go. coming from Gunny. 3-star Captain Willard says, always carry cash, and I make my kids do it too. See, that's the thing. My dad, Captain Willard, used to make sure we carried cash around. My grandma used to always give us cash, like whatnot. I'm 24 years old now, and I don't carry cash. I haven't carried cash around in at least 6 years.
Well, and there's some things that you go do where it's still cash only. You never know. It's always nice to just have it in the wallet.
You're probably right, Connor. Like, don't get me wrong. You're probably correct. Am I going to start carrying cash around as a result of this conversation? Probably not. Joel from Priester says, I keep about 1,000. What?
Good grief,
in
Joel.
Cash? Just around? Like, are you actively trying to be robbed?
He says he finds many good deals paying in cash. That doesn't need to mean that you need to have 1,000 on you.
Connor and I are back tomorrow. The Rush with Tyler and myself is next. We'll see you guys. Have a good one.
Football. You love it. We love it. You live it. We live it. You need it. We got it. Nobody covers college football better.